Welcome to the promising upcoming indie releases series. That is a very long title, so that will probably change. In this series, I'll be playing demos and future releases that I believe are or will become quality pieces of art and are worth a wishlist. Let's begin. First up, we have Eden's Guardian, a Metroidvania Souls-like with such promise, clearly taking inspiration from Souls, Blasphemous, and Hollow Knight in various aspects, but has its own unique feel and take on mechanics. First, I have to mention that the pixel art animations and soundtrack are beautiful. I hope the music will be on Spotify because I need the title track in my life. The most unique mechanic in the demo, which is talked about wherever the game is advertised, is this sword teleportation ability, which is very well implemented. It complements combat nicely and has been made instrumental in traversing the map. It took me so long to figure out how to effectively utilize it. I kept throwing it and I thought I needed to use it immediately and kept getting melted. You can just mark your enemy and wait for the right time to strike. Movement is responsive and not too floaty, combat is fairly straightforward but has weight, is really fluid so far, and your enemies need to be taken out with some thought. You also have an ability that uses mana, or whatever it's called in this game, that when activated, restores health when you damage the enemy. Super valuable if you lack patience or skill. Level design, from what I've seen, seems to be simple but functional and engaging. I wouldn't feel right comparing it to others in the genre until I see more, but it's fair to say we will see more puzzles that act as learn by doing tutorials upon acquiring abilities, more instances where there's an option or requirement to loop back and explore previously inaccessible areas, and more stunning environments to soak in. Game loop is solid, and this is a recurring theme here, simple. But I don't think that's a bad thing, because these mechanics are a great foundation on which to build some complexity. There are a few negatives I ran into, like certain animations don't blend very well, and the transitions can be a little harsh. Sound design is gorgeous and impactful half the time, and lacking pretty severely the rest of the time. Like leaving the ground when you jump has lovely EQ and reverb, but the landing sound completely stops that sound from playing. Hitboxes on spikes are, pretty whack. It is a little buggy, as there were times where I couldn't attack and enemies would simply disappear upon death. But this is a demo, and I'm certain that all of that will be addressed. Also, the words curses and sanity are used in the plot description, and the world's falling apart. You know how it goes. But even if you're tired of Souls and Souls-inspired games using those themes, I still recommend trying it out for yourself, so you can see that the already solid gameplay is more than enough to keep you interested. That was the rudest demo ending, but I am very excited for this. There isn't a release date yet, so who knows when we will see Eden's Guardian in full, but since we have this much game at this quality already, and the devs are pretty active on socials, it's a fairly safe assumption that it won't be abandonware at least. Up next, we have another Souls-like Metroidvania called Obsidian Legion, that for right now at least, is really difficult. It's certainly the hardest game on this list in regards to combat. Managing stamina and spacing between yourself and the enemy is so crucial, especially with these lurchy, slashy boys. Obsidian Legion has you take the role of a mercenary whose job is to recover a mysterious artifact from the island of Ambala. You'll fight baddies, explore the intricate areas by climbing, jumping, falling and dying, repeatedly in my case. Combat feels pretty good, there are plenty of different attacks you can do, and you're given a list of all of them. I find the sprint, press Y, and run away system works wonders because those lurchy boys are just a challenge, even more so when they're in a group. I know that if damage and enemy spawns are balanced a bit better, combat will be exceptional. Movement is a little clunky and on the harder to handle side at the moment. Quick maneuvering isn't really an option, and with the speed of the aforementioned lurchy boys, and who I assume was the main boss of the tutorial, your positioning, attention to tells, and reaction time need to be on point. I mean, it's possible that I just didn't give myself enough time to become proficient with the mechanics. Who knows? I think that's all I have to say about Obsidian Legion. No release date, but try out the demo and see if it's at least worthy of a wishlist. To those of you who thought that Celeste needed guns for some reason, I have a game for you. A thrilling and vibrant adventure unfolds as you parkour and run and gun your way through each level, searching for your sister, Reyna. You'll fight slimes, tentacle things, bigger slimes. I'll be real here, I could not beat the big slime. It was late though, and I needed to get this script done, so I was lacking patience. Combat does feel great though. The weapons certainly fit in nicely with the world they've created. Your weapons can also be upgraded with these plort-like things that enemies drop. Precision platformers know how to anger me more than any other genre, and A Sister's Journey was no exception. I'm very reserved and calculated until I just almost succeed for the 30th time in a row. Movement is very polished and fluid. Though that is a necessity for the genre, it's still very impressive when devs execute it well, making sure every aspect is balanced and provides the right amount of control to fairly navigate the environment. Graphics are obviously charming and pixely. Some things, like the bow in Violet's hair or whatever scarfy thing is draped over her, look like they're physically simulated, which adds movement and life to art that has a tendency to seem rigid. The parallax effect on the background layers and all the ambient particles, at least in the waterfall area, also add to this gorgeous experience. I am looking forward to playing this game fully, though I do know the emotions it will evoke. I've just got to start preparing myself now. There's no set release date, but it looks like it'll be out sometime in 2024. Monomyth, a first-person dungeon crawler that combines unique modern Kingsfield gameplay and the verticality of Souls level design. I had so much fun with this one. The interconnectedness and thoughtful design of the levels and the quality of your highly interactable surroundings are nothing to scoff at. It's wildly impressive that what seems to basically be a one-man team has achieved this. Movement feels very nice and flowy. You dodge in every direction you're moving unless that direction is forwards, and you can lean while remaining hidden with the Q and E keys. Combat is pretty easy at the moment and you can just stun lock your way through fights, but I'm guessing that'll change. What I love about this game is that finding secret areas, getting your hands on that sweet, sweet lore, baking even, can all be just as fulfilling as combat. You have your Soulsy level system, where at respawn shrines, you can allocate skill points and spells. This lovely piece of art doesn't just have your usual stats like strength, intelligence, and dexterity though. It also has skills like athletics, lockpicking, and speech, changing this from a fairly basic dungeon crawler to something with much more of an RPG feel. I am quite excited to see what different builds can bring to my experience. There isn't a release date yet, but I'll be keeping an eye on this project because I don't want to Monomyth out on this release. That was a stretch. I know the closest we have to a release date for any of these is sometime in 2024, but don't forget to wishlist and/or support the devs however you can if a game interests you. If you'd like to see more indie game content, a like and subscribe would help you achieve that goal. You can also follow Resdure on Twitter, where I'll be posting indie news and releases, video updates, and talking anime. If you like this video series, let me know in the comments. It'll slowly evolve as I figure out the best way to go about it, because I want to find a balance between spouting vapid nonsense for half an hour and making a 5-minute video with no creativity. But I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.